The easing of lockdown by our president has created us a good chance to go back to school and do our core duty, which is teaching. Let us go there, colleagues, on Monday and make sure that our learners learn. Let us make sure that each and every minute of the contact time is accounted for. The purpose of this video, colleagues, is to mediate the 2020 revised curriculum assessment plans, especially for grade 7s as they are going back to school by Monday. The presentation outline will be like this. We are going to see the purpose of this, amendments to the content overview for the phase, amendments to the annual teaching plan, amendments to school-based assessment, that is SBA, and the conclusion. So the purpose of this video recording is to mediate the revised Natural Sciences Annual Teaching Plan and the school-based assessment, especially for these grade 7s that will be at school by Monday the 1st. To establish meaningful teaching and learning process for the remaining teaching time as per revised school calendar for 2020. And to enable teachers, new colleagues, to cover the essential core content and skills in each grade within the available time. We don't have more time. We don't have enough time. So make sure that each and every minute is accounted for. Lastly, to show the outline of the content all for the grades, that grade 7 to 9. Amendments to the content overview for the phase is as follows. We are done with we are done with term 1's work. So I'll just start with term 2. Some of the work or the topics in term 2 has been reduced. We only have 4 topics in grade 7. That is properties of materials, separating mixtures, acid, base, and neutrals, introduction to the periodic table of elements. Then in grade 8, colleagues, we only have a topic, atoms. Then in grade 9, term 2, we only have compounds and chemical reactions. Now, in term 3, we have 5 topics in grade 7 and 3 topics in grade 8 and 4 topics in grade 9. In grade 8, we continue with the atoms that we started with in term 2 and go to particle model of matter and static electricity. Those are the only topics that we are going to treat in grade 8. Then in grade 7, we are going to treat sources of energy, potential and kinetic energy, heat transfer, insulation and energy saving, and energy transfer to surroundings. Those are the only topics that we are going to try. Then in grade 9, we are going to talk about the reactions of metals with oxygen, reaction of non-metals with oxygen, acids and base, and pH value. Reactions of acids with bases, part 1, and forces. So we only have 4 topics. Then, term 4, colleagues. We don't have planet Earth and beyond in grade 8 and 9. But the remaining topics in energy and change will be treated in term 4. We will continue with energy transfer in electrical system, series and parallel circuit, and visible light. That will be in grade 8 term 4. Then in grade 9, we are going to treat electric cells and energy systems, resistance, series and parallel circuit, safety with electricity, energy and the national electricity grid, cost of electrical power. Now, planet Earth and beyond will only be treated in grade 7 with only 3 topics. That is relationship of the sun to the moon and relationship of the moon to the earth and historical development of astronomy. Those are the topics that we are going to be treating them in grade 7. Now, amendments to the content overview for the phase. The revised Natural Sciences ATP has the same content as in KEPS document. Content in some topics has been reduced. You'll see as I show you the ATP template. It has been reduced so that you can be able to cover the most important topics. And some topics have been cut out completely. So when you go in your classroom or when you go and prepare your work, please have your amended KEPS document with you and see which topics have been removed completely. In grade 8 and 9, Planet Earth and Beyond has been removed completely. So don't worry about it and don't teach it, please. The remaining content in grade 8 and 9, colleagues, is sufficient for learners to be able to choose physics or physical science in the FET phase. So treat those topics properly, laying a good foundation for those learners who will be taking physical science in FET. In grade 8 and 9, some knowledge strengths, as you have seen in the summary up there, that some knowledge strength straddled across terms, atoms in term 2 and atoms again in term 4. Or 3, I'm sorry. Textbooks can be used as they are, colleagues, but noting the omitted content in the revised Natural Sciences ATP. So, take the revised ATP, go to your textbook, look for the topics that are applicable and teach them only. Now, summary of the content. In term 2 for grade 7, we have 4 topics, as I mentioned before. Within these 4 topics, properties of material is being reduced, but separating mixtures, acid, base, and neutrals, introduction to the periodic tables of elements should be treated as it is, because these are important topics. When you go to term 3, you find that there are 6 topics. Within these 6 topics, 1 is totally removed, that is National Electricity Supply System, and 1 in the remaining 5 is being reduced, which is insulation and energy saving. But sources of energies should be treated as they are in the ATP and in the revised CAPS. Potential and kinetic energy should be treated as it is. Heat transfer also follows the energy, the sources of energy. It has to be treated as it is. These are important topics that will be able to carry our learners into grade 8 and grade 9. Now, in term 4, we have 3 topics, as I've alluded. But in these 3 topics, 1 topic is being reduced, which is historical development of astronomy. But the 2 remaining should be treated effectively, which is relationship of the sun to the earth and the relationship of the moon to the earth. Informal assessment. Informal assessment, colleagues, should continue as normal and as stated in the revised Natural Sciences ATP, which is no different from CAPS document. At every opportunity, science processes skills should be developed and assessed in the teaching and learning of the subject. These processes should not be overlooked. They are very much important. Learners will need this background when they are in grade 10, 11, and 12. Recording of this informal assessment is left to the discretion of the teacher. Learners should read and write regularly to develop language skills. Remember, most of our learners don't have reading skills. They don't know how to read, and many don't know how to write. Therefore, reading and writing skills should be treated with effectiveness. Amendment, school-based assessment. I want us to listen carefully here, colleagues. With term 1, we have done, and you have reported on whatever you have done. You have done practical, whether it was practical or an investigation, and you have done a test. Thanks. But now, when we go to term 2, you are only going to do test, no more examination. So you are going to have 1 task in term 2, which is test. And in term 3, you are going to have one test also, no projects. So term 4, you are going to write an examination. Now, this how is it going to be set? The weighting of term 4's examination will be as follows. You are going to take 40% of the work of term 2 and 50% of the work of term 3 and 10% of the work of term 4 to set up your exam. Let me repeat it again. Your exam will be composed by the following work: term 2's work, term 3's work, and term 4's work. But the weighting is this. Term 2's work takes 40%, term 3's work 50%, term 4's work 10%. Now if you add those percentages, they give you 100%. If you have any clarity seeking question based on this program of assessment, please feel free to contact me. These are my contact details. They've not changed. You can email, you can phone at any time. Thank you, colleagues. Let us go back to school and make sure that teaching and learning is taking place effectively. But bear in mind, colleagues, that safety comes first. Putting on the mask, sanitation, washing your hands, taking the temperature, they are good. But the most important element is social distance. Social distancing must be adhered to. Please, colleagues, make sure that this is drilled into the minds of those young learners so that they should now start to behave, and that should come as a habit to them. Once it is starting to be in the mind and they become what you have drilled them about this social distancing, they will be able to survive, and we will be able to contain this spread of COVID-19 virus. Thank you, colleagues. Have a wonderful term 2.